So AI is already taking tech jobs. This was posted on the Artificial Intelligence subreddit about 4 days ago. We don't need to read this whole thing. Let me know your thoughts, by the way. But you kind of get the gist, you know. Five have fired 1,200 employees. AI's coming for your jobs. Let's see, is there any other numbers? I think there are some numbers down at the bottom here. You know, Microsoft laying off 9,000, IBM terminating 8,000. Now, I already know that it's more nuanced than that. And actually, it's pretty harsh to say Microsoft has laid off 9,000 people, which it has, when it's also in the same time frame hired thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, I believe. But anyway, we're going to see what the wonderful people of Reddit have to say. And by the way, I recently finally upgraded to Windows 11. I probably should have done that ages ago. And I wanted a tile manager type thing. Now, I know it's sort of, so I'm using Power Toys. If you are at all interested, that's how you can sort of get this, you know, layout. And then you can sort of customize it how you want. It's pretty neat, to be fair. Right now, I've just got it like this. I'm probably going to get a bigger monitor. I'm getting distracted. I've got a big widescreen over here as well, but it's not really good for YouTube. So my employer is shoving AI tools at us under the guise that it will empower us when it's clear that we are training our replacement. I don't really buy the whole training your replacement thing. I'm an engineer anyway, so I feel like every single job I do, the goal really is to engineer yourself out of a job in an ideal world, right? You're building scripts, tools, software, which makes things easier for people and automates things. So I don't really see how that's any different. AI tools will empower you. You're not training your replacement, really. I've heard this from friends in the financial sector lately too. Depends on what their roles are. Let's see, what's this person said? So this is a pretty... We're not going to read the whole thing, probably. Most of those claims are AI hype. Agreed. Sam Altman is, like, massively guilty of that. And they all are, to be honest. Elon Musk has been doing that for, you know, 10, maybe even 15 years. Just hype, 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 hype. Right. I'm pretty sure, like, back in the day, he said we'd be on Mars by 2027 or something ridiculous. Self-driving cars by 2020. Anyway, so, where are we? The real reason, of course, are economic factors, which are being completely ignored by the CEOs, the interest rates, inflation, highest levels of consumer debt. Hopefully most of you aren't in too much debt. Overhiring during COVID, that definitely happened. COVID was a weird time. Everything just got more expensive and hasn't really come back down. Tariff fears. Does anyone know what's happening with tariffs? I've not paid attention. I can't listen. I just get bored of it, you know, I just don't care. Economic outlook, drop in GDP, that is happening everywhere. And a whole host of those types of things. So anyway, actually, I want to read this because they talk about Microsoft, so let's keep going. So that doesn't include business practices are changing, such as outsourcing, like what happened at Microsoft that laid off workers and talked about AI writing so much of their code, yet increased their H-1B visas and outsourced the jobs. Yeah, so essentially what they're saying is not AI replaced their jobs, it's H-1B visas. Now, I'm no expert on H-1B visas, so I want to be careful, but my understanding with the reason they're sort of desirable by employers is because, well, people come on work visas, and then if they don't have work, those visas can get revoked. Therefore, the companies that have employees with H-1B visas, they're basically able to sort of control them a bit more, force them to work more, you know, under threat of being fired and whatnot. So really, it's companies taking advantage of people with H-1B visas. Now, I'm not an expert. That's just how I understood it. I might be completely wrong. So businesses have also not been hiring for entry-level jobs because they are negative investments since people job hop around 1 to 2 years. Yeah, this is a fair point. This is like football analogy again. You know, if you're a big club, like one of the best clubs, you don't necessarily want to be hiring like youngsters, if you will. You want other people to develop that talent for you, and then you want to buy it when you're ready. You know, Real Madrid isn't going to spend all of its time training juniors. That's like the job of smaller clubs. Now, the same with jobs now. I guess people don't want someone to come and join them for 1 or 2 years and then leave the second they actually get somewhat decent at the job. Now, to be fair, this is just sort of, I don't know if there's any proof of that. The other thing is I know people who actually do hiring, and a lot of the new hires are just terrible. That's just a fact. They're actually looking for people to hire that are juniors, but they're just not as competent as they would like. Let's close this down. I feel like that's enough of one particular point. You're not imagining continues to imagine without providing any evidence. So, TLDR of the article, which I didn't read. Oh my lord, how dare I. CEO, it's all the same, isn't it? CEO of Fiverr, AI coming for my job. Lower employment rate for junior devs. No proof it's AI, but at least it's close. Yeah, it's probably not necessarily. It's kind of like I said, it's just that. So you've got young people now who've got access to all of these tools. So I think they're actually becoming worse, if you will, like less knowledgeable, not able to answer questions on the spot, maybe not even able to problem solve, because before trying to do any of those things, they go straight to ChatGPT. At least that would be my theory. MS, it's not completely a theory. Microsoft hiring already established they are not being replaced by AI. Yeah, Klarna did fire for AI, but then regretted it and started rehiring, admitting that it did not go too well. Do you know, I just think about my job position, like currently, and the work I have to do on a sort of daily basis. And yeah, it's just like, okay, AI can't do that. I can't see how AI could do that yet, because a lot of it is to do with sort of constantly going between different services, speaking with different people. Don't get me wrong, I do understand that in principle, anything done in bits on computers can be automated, but it's not always that simple. AI's not taking jobs yet. There's 0 people who got fired, and then the actual position was actually replaced by AI. Freelance graphic designers were being replaced by Canva for a while. And freelance copy, he said, by ChatGPT. Probably still is the case. What have we got? So, you can't hear it, I don't think, because I can't see the mic clicking, but there's a police or ambulance driving past, and it was obnoxiously loud because my window's open. So, I mean, I fundamentally don't trust these kinds of statements from CEOs. No. They may very well be going through with these plans, but they're not typically making these statements with any kind of proof that AI actually serves a suitable replacement for humans. True. I mean, can I just say as well, anyone who's actually working knows that, well, I would probably say that if your job right now can be replaced by AI, it probably should be replaced by AI, you know? And if it can be replaced by AI, it can probably be replaced by, like, a script. If a company just says, hey, we're going to do this, especially when AI hype is at its peak, they really don't make it sound like they have a cohesive and well-thought-out strategy to make such a transition. Yeah, bit of a boring answer, but a very realistic one. Anyone who still believes white-collar work is safe from AI, no one believes that over the next 20 years. Not right now. Even I don't, like, it's very, any problem that's related sort of to digital and data can, to various degrees, be automated. Of course, you always still need people who are responsible, most likely. But this is completely different to what people are saying. People are talking about now. I have not seen any job replaced by AI, nor do I know a single person replaced by AI. I think this only applies to people, friends, and or eyeballs. I think one of the most important points in the article was the phrase, we are going from mass hiring to precision hiring. AI is going to create many niche positions that will require lots of training and understanding. Best to start now. Microsoft added nearly 50,000 jobs since 2020. I don't know if this is true, but it's closer than saying it's just they've just like the number here could be wrong, but let's see what Google says. The statement 50,000 jobs in 2020 is a big ambiguous. It's like creation of job specific context. So that's I meant to say Microsoft law. That's the only thing that's come up is 9,000 jobs, 90,000 jobs, 90,000 jobs, 9,000 even. No, I can't find 50,000, but I do know that I read something a while ago which basically gives, it's a bit more tolerant than saying, oh, they're slashing 9,000 jobs. It was like, okay, we actually hired 20,000 people and then lost 9,000 people, but then hired another 5,000 of people or something like that. So it's not as simple as just we've cut 9,000 people and that's it. That's all the hiring and firing we're doing. That's not fair. That's not how it works. Let's see. I use LLMs to do data analysis. Even that, it can't get without a lot of help. Not currently anywhere good with to replace someone skilled. It would make a person who's skilled more productive. Yeah, pretty normal take. So AI can write a basic test for... See, I don't get that, because this is like the opposite spectrum. I don't disagree with that either. So AI can write a basic test for a Next.js app now. Yeah, it can. Damn, a lot has happened in the last 12 hours. It can write a decent test. In fact, I would say writing tests is one of the things that I think LLMs are quite good at, in a way. Oh, more smoke and mirrors. Enough with this slop. AI is not going to take software engineering jobs. It's just convenient shield for layoffs. I don't know. I never know how to sort of... Being realistic, it will affect jobs. I think that's a fact. If you can do more, the person can do more than they could previously, then it will have a percentage impact on the number of jobs in that industry. Yeah. But I think there's so much like tooling and so many languages and stuff around and things constantly evolving that LLMs would have to basically keep up to date with all of those things, which I don't think they've really shown to be capable of doing just quite yet. I also read an article a while ago that was really interesting, and I 100% like. There's this like negative feedback loop, I think, with LLMs where people try and force you to use languages that they have lots of data for, which makes sense, of course. So, like Python, Java, and such and such things. But if you then suddenly try to use some new sort of framework that it hasn't really got any data on, it's not going to be able to help you very much. So it creates this loop where it sort of forces everyone into using the things it's already well trained on, meaning maybe will it affect future tools? I don't know. As someone who implements these tools every day and deals with user feedback, don't worry yet, fellas. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. I mean, the amount of sort of context switching I have to do between different services and talking to different people, and we're not there yet. Not surprised at all. Companies are finally saying out loud what everyone's been feeling for a while. It's not AI will help you anymore, it's adapt or get cut. This is always the case. CEOs get golden parachutes, working folks get Cobra. Mass layoffs aren't surprising. What's wild is how fast we went from AI will help you to AI is you now. It's not. People are a bit hyperbolic, aren't they? We haven't been replaced by AI yet. The reliability and quality issues are real. Will not be solved soon. Also, the LLMs, from my experience, are so positively biased that unless you ask them to specifically contradict you, they don't. Like that's one of my sort of pet hates with LLMs at the moment. Now look, I get you can change the prompts and I get you can give it settings and stuff, but I still think it's an issue. If you say something, it will tend to say it to you in a way that it thinks that you want to hear that information. Yeah. Anyway, how AI transforming senior engineers into code monkeys comparable to juniors? Why is every CEO making the same statements over and over again? Probably just clout. Would be my guess. What else we got? Tech has been taking jobs forever. Start by naming a single tech job, as in software engineer, that's been fully replaced by AI, not CEO warning or company claims, but an actual instance of it happening and a fully automated AI agent taking over the job entirely. I'll wait here in the comments. Yeah, this definitely hasn't happened yet, but I would be inclined to agree with this person who says some people have no vision. I probably wouldn't say that. But you're not replacing one full software engineer. It's now that the 5 engineers I have can now do 25 engineers at work. To be fair, hasn't that always been the case anyway? There's always been that joke, what you can achieve with 2 engineers can also be achieved with 4 engineers. That's not how any healthy tech businesses work. You want to expand, and if 5 engineers can do 25 people work, I hire 20, so I can get the output of 100 and quadruple the amount of projects I can take on. This is similar to something look, Zuckerberg or Facebook, whatever you want, Meta, all that, they've always, which I think is, I don't really like the system, it's ruthless, they've always sort of fired the bottom X%, I don't know what number, 5%, 1%, who knows, or 10% even, which is crazy in my opinion, because it's a relative measure. You're measuring people relative to other employees rather than against an absolute standard, if that makes sense. So over time, if you will, in theory, you could keep firing. You could, over time, the bottom 10% performers, whatever the number is, could still be fantastically amazing employees. It's just that they're worse than others. So anyway, but he said exactly this thing, this idea. He's a bit of a hypocrite because they obviously fire people, but he said the same thing, that, this idea that you would fire people because one engineer can now do the work of 5 is counterintuitive, is not really the right way of thinking about it, because they would want those 5 engineers because then they could do 5 times the amount of work. That makes sense. But yeah, it's not like you have infinite budget. This is also true. So the truth is somewhere between that, right? It's not, I don't think it's completely black and white. I do think sometimes it would make sense to have more employees if you need to get more work done. But yeah, there will be less jobs. I think that's sort of, I see how this is possible, at least for junior technology jobs. I think the key thing with junior technology, I think the real problem with juniors is that they're just like lazy now. And I don't want to be like, oh, juniors are lazy. I don't really mean it like that. I just mean you've got a generation of people going through university. The first generation going through university, you've had full access to LLMs, right? Full access. I can already think how easy university, like I'm not saying university was hard, I still got first, but it would be so much easier now if I had ChatGPT, like so much easier, because yeah, you can just have tailored learning. But I think I've even read people talk about this, how they go to ChatGPT before they even think. And I think that's the real problem. It's like a culture problem, if you want, with people. Rather than thinking about something, they put it into an LLM and get it to think for them. And then you end up with people who are incapable of thinking. Laid-offs are the thing at the moment. Hopefully you are self-employed and working at looking at the 100 AIs at once in a buyback. It's brutal. I don't want to hear any answers from politicians. We're in the painful transition period, just like when the factories of computers came around. In my team, we do the job of some 4 to 6 developers with just me and another. That's 2 to 4 people not being hired. It's real. Yeah, I mean, this is the most realistic take. But I also want to say that, like, the more people you have, the more complex sometimes it is to do the work. So I think this idea that you're doing the same work as 4 to 6 developers it's not apples to oranges. Sometimes I think like having 1 or 2 people is like optimal. It's obviously not scalable, and sometimes you have too much, like, you know, there's at the end of the day, there's too much work to do, then 1 or 2 people isn't enough. But if it is a small company where 1 or 2 people can know everything, it's probably nicer to have only 1 or 2 devs. I feel like I didn't articulate that very well. But yeah, capitalism still beat capitalism. That's about it, I think, for this video. So I'm gonna stop there. Let me know your thoughts below. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe, see you in the next one.